Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast. We've got another big weekend ahead of us as far as decent competitive handicaps go. It's not the highest quality weekend, but we've got York next week. So there we are. And that's no disrespect to Ripon at all, because we've got the great St Wilfrid. Decent sized field for that, and hopefully some big prices going up as well. Tell you, we've got a big team, and it's a good team as well. Adele Mulrennan, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Enjoying the sunshine. It's lovely up there.
How's Steve Jones coping in this heat?
Perfect. I'm so cool anyway.
You are under pressure. Yeah. And look who's back. For anyone that doesn't recognise this man, this is King of the Jumps, we tend to call him. But he's got his flat hat on today, although it's invisible. Micheál Deasy. How are you, Deasy? You back?
Very good, Tom. Yeah, I took a little break there. The real job got in the way of the tipping for a while, but just stretching the legs now before York next week with this one.
And with that, the moment you start talking, Jonesy's run off. Jonesy's done. For anyone who's listening on the podcast, it's almost as if I can only assume that his house is burning down with the speed. Everything all right, Steve? Well, good. Glad you're with us anyway, Jonesy. You're right.
I knew he'd do this. The cat sits there looking at me all day, and 10 seconds from going on there, he's jumped up to the skylight because he wants to go out. And the skylight, if he jumps down there, he'll die. So I had to grab it.
Well, I'm glad you're prioritising your cat's life over this podcast. I can only assume your cat pays you, does he?
Pays me in torment.
There you go. Right. Anyway, let's get on with the racing. Let me remind you of the usual information I give you. Insights.matchbook.com for all the best bets on the podcast. That applies to all sports. There's going to be a document up there with regard to the Premier League action this weekend. And we've got plenty coming your way across all the sports we preview. Hit the like button on YouTube and indeed via your preferred podcast app. Give us a review and a follow as well. Makes it easier for you to listen or watch each and every time we go live. Okay, the 120 at Newbury is where we kick off. 10 furlong handicap. 3 bets are going up here for you. Let me give you the prices. Fran Tank, who was disappointing last time, 3.25. Definite Hector Crouch rides 3.5. Rob Hornby's at Newmarket. Rogue Rocket 7.0. General Lee 7.4. Highland Premier 13.0. 15.0. Postwick John the Baptist 19.5. Wonder El Mosman 25.0. I'll kick off because I've got a strong enough fancy for Rogue Rocket. I don't normally kick off, I know, but I really think the step up in distance will help this horse. And I was just disappointed with the other 2 main ones in the betting. Personally, I felt that I found it hard enough to make a case for the favourite being bang at the top of the betting off the back of that run last time. It was. I mean, I guess he had excuses on the day, but I thought it was just a little bit too disappointing at Sandown. And Dal Mallard didn't exactly run a blinder when seen yesterday, I think it was. I think the excuse was the horse was suited by the slower pace at Sandown. Fine. I mean, it's not exactly the biggest field here, although, like all of them, they're all completely unexposed. Definite may well go forward as he did last time. He was pretty comfortably held in a 3-runner race at Nottingham, having won at Haydock prior to that. I think he'll try and make all here. It won't be as easy to do so as I think it was at Haydock a couple of starts ago. Rogue Rocket, I just thought was the obvious one to be a good bit shorter. I'd have him sort of nearly with as good a chance as the favourite. I know it's a massive step up in grade. A winner at Salisbury on quick ground, so that's box ticked. And then, given what he tried to do under Conor Planas last time, he's got a good record on him, and I think he's well worth his 7. I thought the step up in trip would definitely suit, and I thought whatever I just read out, 6.0, that's what I had noted down in front of me, was too big for Rogue Rocket. I would play win and place as well, given that it's a dead 8, because I cannot see him out the front 3, and that's a relatively strong fancy for me for Rogue Rocket to kick things off. And then Steve and DC agree. Go on, DC, because you're back.
Thank you, Tom. I fancy General Lee, Paul Nanover Cole's horse. I fancied him at the start of the season in the spring mile he ran in at Doncaster, but he ran a bit of a stinker now that day, to be honest. He finished second last. And they gave him a bit of break. Then there must have been something up with him. He returned a good one there a few weeks ago, and he finished 10th of 16, 8 lengths beaten by Ajero, but he actually ran a lot better than that. He had a lot of kind of trouble in running. He was bumped around the place, and I think that maybe he mightn't have just saw the trip up. Maybe he might have been 100% fit. He's given away a good bit of weight now today, but he's dropping down in grade as well. This is a class 4, but he's running higher grades than this. I think 1 mile 2 will suit him, and I think he's a nice price. I had him as win only, but I think I'll go win place as well because it's the dead 8. I think he's a nice horse, and the yard are in good form as well. In fairness, that's all I something to take note of.
And Steve, you agree? What do you want to add?
Yeah, I just want to say his record on fast ground is very, very good. He's had 5 goes, 1, 2, been runner-up twice. One of those when he was just beating the nose, and then last time at Goodwood, he ran a hell of a lot better than his final finishing position because they went a real strong pace in that. It was won by Ajero of Kim Bailey's, and they went a real strong pace. And although he was sat in midfield, he challenged a bit too soon in the straight, and he was still in with a chance when he got a real right whack, and that just unbalanced him. And at Goodwood, when you become unbalanced like that, you got no chance. So I thought he ran a lot better, and that was his first run for 4 months. So you'd imagine that he sharpened up again because he had an issue, I think, over the winter. So I think he's got a really good chance. And dropping in grade, he's got a lot going for him. He's a good price in what I think is a more open race than maybe the betting suggests.
Well, we all agree on that front. Win and place for you, Steve?
Yeah, double win, so 2 win, 1 place.
2 points on the win bet and 1 on the place bet. Okay, that's the 120 at Newbury. 2 shouts for General Lee and 1 for Rogue Rocket. We move on to the Silver Trophy Handicap at Ripon. This is the 140. Give you prices. Wenmoon 2.94. New Definition 3.45. Prince of Pillow 4.2. Florida Filly is 5.1, and Honor Your Dreams 22.0. DC no bet for you. I was nearly a no bet, but I have got one. Steve and I in agreement. But Adele, we'll start with you at Wenmoon.
Okay, yeah. He's a 2-year-old who I noted up when I did a day on racing TV at Carlisle when I picked him out of the paddock. Ben Haslam thinks, a really lot of this little horse who, even though I kind of thought they would maybe go away from Ripon with him not looking all that, he didn't look like he was in love with the track that day he won there, but he did it well, and it was a little bit messy, and I just thought there was no over in the race that I thought I could kind of like tie myself to, and he's nice. That even when he was second to that horse called Hoy, who then was second to a horse Nigel Tinklers, who's entered in the Gym Crack next week. So there's a little bit of depth to his form as well. So he's got a good draw as well. So hopefully the rail will kind of help him keep him a bit straighter this time. So Wenmoon.
Wenmoon for you. Steve, you can make the case for the Prince.
Yeah, Prince of Pillow. Originally, the betting forecast, New Definition was very short, and I definitely wanted to take him on because I thought he dropped the anchor when he hit the front last time. So he was my angle in really to try and find something to take on the favourite, but he's not even favourite now. But Prince of Pillow, I was drawn to because I thought he travelled so well on his debut at Ayr when he won. That was over 6 furlongs, and I think going back to 5 now, he's got that experience. It certainly helped. He looks to have a lot of speed, and I think in a tricky little race, he was the one.
I thought you were going to say a little bit more. Then I mean, you did. That's why I didn't jump in. I completely agree that the race made me want to take on James Tate's horse because I suppose he did drop the anchor in front last time. Interesting that Cheap Pieces went on a couple of starts ago. I mean, he's got good form in behind Chateau in the listed race at Newbury, but I thought he won 6 furlongs, and I couldn't see a reason that dropping back to this 5 will necessarily suit. So when I looked at the race, they were sort of vying for favouritism. So for me, it was between Wenmoon and Prince of Pillow, and at the prices, Prince of Pillow for not just a team in the centre, Keith Dalglish, Callum Rigger. It's also Midland Park having a great year. They're on course for their best ever year to surpass last year. And I just don't think that the drop back to 5 would be a problem at all. I don't mind horses on their first start, say over 6, dropping back a furlong because quite often they might be sharper horses, but they the initial run just to sharpen them up a bit mentally, and then I think he can carry on as a 5 furlong horse absolutely fine. So at the price,
I can see why they want to drop back to or stay at 5 furlongs with him, because he didn't go the pace at Musselburgh last time, but then he got to the front and he just stopped and let Looking for Linda, one for Hue and Cry fans, let him back up at the inside. I just think he stopped in front. I think he's iffy, and over 6 furlongs, I think he'd do it even more pronounced. So I think that's why he probably wants 6 furlongs, but his mind isn't there.
Adele.
Obviously, Paul rode New Definition at Musselburgh, and he said he didn't think he wanted 5, he wanted 6. And obviously, it was a sharp 5 at Musselburgh, and then it's a sharp 5 at Ripon. So, hence why Paul's been taken off it. But yeah, he said he thought he wanted further. Bit of inside information there, if you want it.
Adele, I hope he's right, because that's you look at these. It's a weird one, isn't it? When you look at a horse and like Connections know what they're doing, but you take a view. I mean, Paul's ridden the horse, and then we looking on as whatever you want to call us, people that should know what they're looking for. I think that horse wants a certain distance, and you're going against what Connections, who should know the horse better, think.
Yeah, well, hopefully Paul's right and you're right.
I agree. Okay, we done there. Anything else to add? Good. Let's kick on. 2 shouts for Prince of Pillow and Adele with When Moon. And the consensus of the podcast is that New Definition isn't the one. So I sort of really hope that horse doesn't win. Let's move on to... we're going back to Newbury, aren't we, for the Denford Stakes? I couldn't find a bet here. I thought this was quite difficult, personally. Victory Dance is 1.66. Candle of Hope is 5.2. Ferrari Queen, 8.8. Ulite Bay, 9.6. And Seat Door is 27.0. Victory Dance obviously heads the betting. Not a betting price for me. I couldn't find an obvious reason to take Victory Dance on. And Adele and DC are with. Betting material for you, Dees?
Look... Not really, but I think he should win. I mean, the race he won on debut, Charlie Appleby has run a few of his good horses in that over the past 3 years. He ran the Noble Truth in it last year, and he'd been second in the Superlative last night. Is easily the best form on show in this, although they are unproven. Well, they're all 2-year-olds. Like there's a lot of improvement there, but I just think he could be above average. So I think he'll win. We want winners.
Yeah, exactly. Adele?
Exactly what DC said, really. He was expensive purchase. He's stepping down in class, and hopefully this should see him get back on track, really. And it is interesting. He's a horse that I do think possibly might want further, though, so I wouldn't be steaming in on him. I think he's fine at 7 furlongs for now, but I do think he possibly might want stepping up before the end of the season. So I just won't be going strong on him at that price, but hopefully he should get back on track. He's got the best form in the book.
Yeah, he definitely has the best form. And Steve, are you out against the favourite, or just more interested at something else at a price?
Yeah, it was like Adele. So I thought that he definitely wants a bit further in time, Victory Dance. So I'm going for Ferrari Queen, who is very similar profile to Mark Johnson's previous winner of this 3 years ago, Thunderous, in that she's had a couple of runs up north. A debut up north, very impressive at Doncaster, then came down to Kempton in a pretty ordinary race, and won again from the front with plenty up her sleeve. And I just think she'll get the run of the race. She might not be good enough to hold off Victory Dance, but it gives her a chance. The fact that she's going to be in the right position up front, and she'll keep going. And she is. That debut win shows that she's quite good, and there's a lot of stamina in there, so she will keep going. And I just thought she was the wrong price. I think she's certainly got a decent shout, given the way the race will run. So it's only small stakes, bit of a chance. Ferrari Queen.
Okay, Ferrari Queen for you, Steve. We move on to the 210, which is the Discover Newmarket Fillies Handicap. Lots of A's in here. A few A's going up as well. So we've got Atlantis 2.08. Sea Sylph 4.6. Australian Angel 5.4. Rosalia 9.0. Single 10.5. We'll start with the Australian Angels first of all. Adele, back to you.
I was wanting to take on the favourite really, and you know, she's very strong at the trip. There's like bags and bags of stamina in her pedigree. I think there's like a 2 mile winner, Gold Cup, Irish St Ledger winner. So and she saw out the trip really well last time out. 3-year-olds seem to have a good record in that race. She looks quite straightforward from what I can see, and she's in on what looks an attractive weight. So yeah, I was looking to take the favourite on, and I'm quite happy with that price, to be honest. What was it, 5.4? Happy days.
Yeah. Taking the favourite on with Atlantis. Dees, I'll come to you. Steve, you're with Australian Angel as well?
Yeah, very similar to Adele. I'm not particularly convinced by the favourite, even though she obviously showed an improvement in cheek pieces on her handicap debut, won impressively. But I don't know, there's something about her that says to me that she might not back that up. And I think Australian Angel has been progressing really nicely. Won at Windsor and then stepped up in distance at Newbury over 1 mile and 5. And Wagga Wagga was a really well handicapped horse at that point on a roll. And I didn't think that was a bad run at all. And the fact that Australian Angel won last time quite nicely bodes well, I think. And like Adele said, she looks very straightforward. I think she'll be ridden prominently, I'd imagine. And that's always a help on the July course. So, yeah, again, I just wanted to take the favourite on, and Australian Angel, I think, is the obvious one to do it with.
Dees, I'm a no bet, but I'm probably more in the Atlantis camp than against. I don't know.
Yeah,
I couldn't make head nor tail of it, really. Go on.
Not tipping much value yet, but I watched the last ones there last night, went through them all, and I just thought that she was very impressive the last time. They put the cheap pieces on her, and it worked. She won by 4.5 lengths going away from them. If you just look at her pedigree, I mean, she's by Sea the Stars out of us or Percy May, like the step up and trip shouldn't be a problem for her. She could I think she could be a very good horse. And again, I'm kind of hoping to get a few winners here. I know I'm tipping favourites, but I think she's probably the best of them by far.
It's all right. No, listen, favourites are allowed to go up when they win.
Yeah.
That is the 210 at Newmarket. So 2 shouts for Australian Angel and Atlantis, who is 2.08. So still a shade of odds against, bang at the top of the betting for DC. We move on to the Geoffrey Freer, the 230 at Newbury. Zechariah 2.68. Away he goes 3.2. Universal Order 5.1. Outbox 6.6. Silence Please 18.0. Am I sounding excited by this weekend's racing? I mean, it's all right, isn't it? But just small field, modest racing throughout. But there we are. Still lots of betting opportunities, he says. Where am I going to go first? I'm going to go to Steve first of all.
Some good horses have won this race. Huckham the last 2 years, and Defoe and Hamada. This is pretty dreadful for a Group 3, I think. And Zachariah will be popular because of that Queen's Vase second at Ascot, but was well beaten in the Bahrain Trophy and just doesn't inspire confidence. And Outbox is the horse I want to be with, 7-year-old, which sort of sums this race up. But you know that Outbox will get on the front end and keep going, and certainly has bits of form that gives him a real chance, given the way that hopefully the race will be run. And won a valuable race at Doha in the winter. I'm not sure what the form of that's worth, but if you go back last season, was second to Huckham, who won this race the last couple of years. That was in at York in the Silver Cup of Group 3. So has got form at this level when thing drops right for Outbox, and I think things will drop right for Outbox. And with Holly Doyle up front, I think they'll be hard to pass.
Steve, do you think Outbox? Because I sort of basically I'm just in the race. I'm just going to back the horse that he's going to lead. Do you think Outbox is going to go forward?
No, definitely. Lead if nothing else, a lead, and sit handy if it doesn't. That's
that sort of helps me make my selection, because of the last few meetings at Newbury conversely to what I'd often expected you, but I don't know if it's been the ground or whatever, but been one beyond the speed. It's been really tough to make up ground on the round course, on the straight course, just everywhere. Outbox, yeah. Outbox is a course and distance winner. I know he was over at Belmont last time. Just a big price against him. Like, a Universal Order will be tucked away. Away he goes may well be better at this distance, but tends to be slowly away. Zechariah, it's not a big field, won't be too far away, but needs to settle over this distance.
Extremes of ground. Extremes of ground. You always want to be on the pace, heavy or fast. You always want to be on the pace.
Yeah, I'm with you. Outbox, small win bet, done. And maybe look to get out during the run as well, because he doesn't completely convince for me. Adele.
Yeah, I mean, I do think Outbox will make the run in, and I am worrying that Holly will nick the race from the front. She's absolutely riding out of her skin, Holly. But I'm just kind of going on Zechariah's second in the Queen's Vase. So, I mean, I don't know, maybe Royal Ascot maybe just took out a little bit too much out of him. I know he was a beaten favourite next time out, but he got very warm, very sweaty, and just whether Royal Ascot kind of just really set him alight. So he's had a little bit of a freshen up. So hopefully it's kind of reset him. The form at Royal Ascot is what I'm going on. But I would be worried about Outbox because he's just tough, and you kind of know what you're getting with him. You know, he's going to be ridden from the front. Holly's riding great. So I wouldn't, just like Victory Dance, I wouldn't be going steaming in on Zechariah, but I'm going to go with him. Hopefully that form will kind of come to play.
And DC, what do you want to add to Zechariah?
Yeah, just like out of them all, he's probably has the best form this season. And if you look back at the last 2 years, the 3-year-olds have a great record in the race. And Martin Mead won this a few years ago with Technician, who was similar profile kind of horse, like a possible Derby horse, who ended up stepping up and tripped, So they know what they're doing here, and this is, I think, the rest of them are all a bit meh. So go for Zechariah to stamp a bit of class now.
All right, Zechariah 2 shouts, and Outbox a couple of shouts as well. We move on to the Great St Wilfrid Handicap. It was Adele that flagged early on to us that there'd be no consolation race, because Adele, this race hasn't filled for the. Can you remember this race not filling before?
No, I don't think I can ever remember. Most consolations have filled, haven't they, over the years? But I remember saying on ITV at the start of the season when we were doing the Lincoln, it was just a sign of the times that that didn't fill either for the Spring Mile. So, but then interesting to see that Scotland has got record entries for the Gold Cup. But anyway, it's a shame. It really is a shame because it's such a great little track, and it's always nice to see it well supported. But unfortunately, it's not. So I'm hoping Steve's got some interesting facts on the pace for this race, seeing as you were quite right last year.
We'll come to that. I'll just add that if anyone's interested, I think it's definitely a time of year thing as well, with the Sunday Series and the Racing League, and so much on offer. That actually they're going, well, Great St Wilfrid, I'd rather run on a Thursday or a Sunday for a bit for very competitive races. And although there's a big prize money on offer for this race. Look, I don't know. It's where we're at. Anyway, 5.7 Black Rods, Summergan 7.0, Just Another Bottle 8.8, Snash 12.0, Misty Grey 11.5, Emperor Spirit 14.5, yada yada yada. Stalls stand side. Just Another Bottle won up there last year, Steve, and you didn't find him for all you said. The winner will make rule. You were bang on.
I was trying to work out what I tipped last year and what I backed last year, but I couldn't remember. And I remember being absolutely aghast that it didn't try and make the running, because this race, the last 6 winners, the previous 5 to last year, all made the running. Last year's didn't make the running, but took running up after 2 furlongs, so was the pace. And that in the stands side is the place they're going to be. And the fact that it's only 15 runners, the stalls are on the stand side. So I think it's even more of an advantage to be on the stand side this year. And I'm with Archie Watson again, Emperor Spirit, who's only had 4 starts since joining him from John and Thady Gosden. And going back to sprinting, which we've seen Archie Watson do a few times. He did it with the horse that's just retired, Glen Shiel, who'd been running over further and dropped him back to sprinting, and he just took off. And I think that's what's going to happen to Emperor Spirit, because he won first time up for Archie at Chelmsford, and then finished second at Ripon, second at Ascot. And he's also got Ripon form from last season as well. He has got to turn that form round with last year's winner of this race, Just Another Bottle. But I think he can do that, because I think that was only his second start of the season, 2 weeks after his first. And I think he's probably thriving now. And last time he ran terrible at Chelmsford, but he just couldn't get in from a wide draw, and you just can't do that. And so I put a line through that. He's drawn 13 of 15. He gets out, he gets the stands rail, and he makes all. It's really that simple. And he's something like 13.0, which is insane for the way. I mean, you can make other horses have got stronger form, I've no doubt, but they're nowhere like Black Rod in stall 1. Oh, whoa. Best of luck being over there, I think. And it's going to have to take some ride to get horses drawn low home in this. And I think Emperor Spirit will just be in the right place, and that gives a massive chance.
I'll just jump on your bandwagon again and say that's exactly how I want to play it. Stand side, I'm going to back Just Another Bottle to try and do what he did last year, and Emperor Spirit as well, who I'm sure will go forward up that stand side rail. Having been wide at Chelmsford last night was a bit of a throw-out. Trying to do what he did at Ascot was never going to be easy. And they finished first and second here back in June. Emperor Spirit's £2 higher. Just Another Bottle is £3 higher. I honestly think they'll have it between them up the stand side rail. And the ones above them in the betting, Summergand, I just don't think this is going to be his track at all. And Black Rod is drawn 1, which is enough reason to take him on, I think. So those would be my 2 against the field. Adele.
Well, I'm following a trainer who is absolutely smashing it. Like, he's well clear as leading trainer at Ripon. I don't think we might have had one meeting where he's not had a winner, Tim Easterby. So I've gone for Snash, who's drawn next to Emperor Spirit. So hopefully he'll get a nice toe along. This horse has got a really good record over 6 furlongs, 4 from 7. He's in there at an attractive weight. But, I mean, don't forget, Black Rod's got a bad draw, but like, the last time he was gonna run for Michael Dodds was in the July Cup. Like, they think a hell of a lot of that horse. He's got a lot of ability. Obviously, it's his first start for Ed Bethel. They've taken him away from Michael, but I've heard he's working very well, and he could actually, even given his draw, could easily hose up, because he could have that much ability. But I'm going to go with a trainer who is, like I said, I don't know what it is with his horses at Ripon. They just seem to have like £5 in hand. So I'm going to go with Snash, and he's not a bad price either. So play him at the place market.
East, you agree? And another?
Yeah, I like Snash. I kind of took note that he was after moving to Tim Easterby early on in the season. I mean, he was rated 95 when he got there, and Tim got him down to 82, running him in Class 2 races, put the cheek pieces on, and he's after winning twice since. So he's back up to 90 now. As you said, stand side, I think he has a lot going for him. So he's one. And the other one I liked was Misty Grey, Tom Daskin's horse. This kind of his flag bearer for the new yard he's in. He was allowed to take this horse with him, and he won there recently, and he did that interview. He was quite emotional after. I think it was one of his first winners. But I think this is it's a decent horse, and it has the rail as well. It's way out knowing number 15 right in the stand side. Again, I think that he will be absolutely laid out for this. He had a few other entries as well this weekend, but he's after turning up today. Again, he's going to be kind of he'd been all right when place price. I think there's been a bit of money for him. He was a bigger price during the week. He's into about 11.0 now. He was about 15.0, but even still, I'll be happy enough to play both of them, probably quarter win and 3/4 places.
Okay, Misty Grey and Snash for you. I think Misty Grey is probably biggest price of all of them. Tom Daskin and Pierre-Louis Jamin. Out of 15 as well, could be the place to be. Okay, we're done there, right? Good. Yeah. Let's kick on. We move on to the 3 o'clock at Newbury. 7 furlong handicap, and Gisborne is 3.45. 5,000 to 1 is 5.0. Dance Fever is 5.1. Silent Film 5.8. United Front 8.8, Documenting 13.0, Abel Kane 15.0. We know how 5,000 to 1 got his name. Anyone?
No.
That was the price that Leicester were to win the Premier League.
No, I wouldn't know that.
Full of interesting facts, me.
That is an interesting fact.
Yeah.
I like that.
D, so coming straight back at you with your split stakes. Oh no, sorry,
What?
I'm looking at the wrong race. I'm coming straight back at you with 5,000 to 1.
5,000 to 1. I tipped this horse before, and I remember I said it to my father-in-law as well, as I like this horse there the weekend back, and got the phone call back when he finished that. I was like, you should have been 5,000 to 1. He's a hard horse to win with, but he's only won once out of 14 starts, but he ran an absolute cracker last time. He was beaten there just a short time I run to freedom, and he was on the bridle a furlong out. And maybe if he got going just a small bit sooner, he would have got there. But I think he's coming back into form. He obviously wants it absolutely rattling fast. So he's got his ground now. One of his best runs of his career was at Newbury, over 6 furlongs. I think was the Mill Reef he ran in. Was it? Yeah, the Mill Reef. Yeah. Not mad about the price. He was a much bigger price before next. I mean, it's 5.0. I don't know. I'd be happy enough for that win only. I think this might be the day he finally gets the head in front.
Okay, 5,000 to 1 for you. Adele?
I'm going with a favourite, Gisborne, who I actually picked out in the paddock down at Goodwood. He's a really good-looking horse, and I thought showed a little bit of versatility, the fact that he handled the quick going that day. I do think 7 furlongs might be more his trip now. He's damn listed place winner over a mile, so definitely. And the fact that previously he'd kind of always handled softer conditions, so that kind of suggested that he did have a little bit of stamina, for getting through the softer going. So as long as that hasn't taken too much out of him down at Goodwood, quite happy to stick with him again. He looked $1 million that day. So hopefully she'll be able to handle the ground this weekend, because he looked like he handled it at Goodwood. The horse that was third behind him was second at Doncaster to System just after. So hopefully the form can hold up a little bit. So yeah, Gisborne for me.
Steve?
Yeah, it was just the race I wanted to take a bit of a chance in, because although Gisborne's got the best form, I just don't like his inconsistent profile. And he might just have had problems, and he might put those behind him. But the one that I wanted to take a chance on was Silent Film, who I thought ran a lot better in the Bunbury Cup than his final finishing position, because he had a terrible draw right over on the far side. And he was one of only 2 that raced up the far rail, but he was bang up there for a long time. And he only dropped out in the closing stages. And if he was on the worst ground, then I didn't think that was a bad performance at all, considering that he'd been down the field at Royal Ascot as well. And if you go back to last season, when he beat Run to Freedom at Sandown, and then went over to Maidan in the winter to win, he'd have to have a really good chance. And it'd be a hell of a lot easier than the Bunbury Cup, that's for sure. So with Charlie Appleby in such great form, it was just taking a bit of a chance. I think he's about 6.0, something like that. It was just the small stakes, throw one at him, because I don't really like anything else in the race.
So process elimination led me there as well. DC's point about 5,000 to 1 I take, but also he doesn't exactly win very often. Gisborne is definitely the right favourite, who ran very well last time. I just worry if he's a bit slow away again. It was Goodwood last time, so you can get found out there, but he might be able to recover and get a prominent position. But Silent Film, I thought, was priced up on the fact that he's been beaten 13 lengths in 2 starts. Obviously, the reappearance came in what was always going to be a tough race when never really involved. Maybe needed it. Last time, there was definite promise. I mean, he was only first of 2 in the group, and the second may not have been much caught, but there was definite encouragement there. He's back down to a mark of 103. If you go back to the runs in the desert, then there's definitely a chance he's back on song. And if I was going to want to back anything on the straight course, it'd probably be far side up with the pace, and that's where I think the horse will be. So yeah, you've got to be hoping that he's back on form. But I thought there was enough last time to have a go at Silent Film. So just a small win bet for me there. We move on to the Grey Horse Handicap, just the 7. Sad times. Mr. Bluebird 3.25, Come On Girl 4.1, Lord Rapscallion 7.2, Strike is 8.2, and 8.8 Vera Eagle, 9.6 Wentworth Falls Revolutionise 16.0. Don't know if anyone's got a very strong opinion here. I tell you what, we've got 3 different selections, and there are 7 horses. Go on, Steve. Why's yours going to win?
Because it's favourite, Tom, Mr. Bluebird. It's interesting, Pete. I don't think people realise, because they have a grey horse handicap, they have to have a brown horse race as well that they don't advertise. That I think it's tonight, isn't it? Where you can't have any greys. I mean, that is crackers, isn't it? But
political correctness gone mad, that, Steve.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna ring up GB News about it.
They have a
Mr. Bluebird.
chestnut. They should have a chestnut horse handicap.
Yeah. And only ones with a nice name they should have. That would be the next. That's what I think. I should be the one to decide whether it's a nice name or not. Mr. Bluebird's a nice name, and Harry Davis is a nice jockey, and Heather Main's a nice trainer, especially as her horses like to go from the front. And Mr. Bluebird ran perfectly respectably from a prominent position at Haydock last weekend on Sunday, and comes into it with a real consistent profile. And I think Mr. Bluebird will just get on the front end and keep rolling and win the race.
Simple as that. Adele.
Mr. Bluebird, because I just think he might be just struggling off his mark a little bit. Some of these horses are a bit like him, and then some are kind of look like they're making the way back down to what is a winnable mark. So I've gone for a Vero Eagle, who has been running predominantly over 7 furlongs, and he's won twice over 6 furlongs. He's been showing enough pace to suggest that he can cope with a step down in trip, and I think the visors will help him end his losing run. So taking on the favourite, sorry Steve, Mr. Bluebird, I'm going to go with Vero Eagle, but I wouldn't be going in strong on this race.
No, I wouldn't either. Dees, you going in strong?
No, this is an absolute stinker of a race.
Honestly, we're just in the racing this weekend.
Yeah. I've very, very windy, I don't know what you call it, selection here. I'm going for Strike. I just have a small little win bet and a place bet based on he finished within 2.5 lengths of Mr. Bluebird at Ascot there in May, and he was actually staying on. It was probably his best run of the season, and he was getting £2 that day. He is now getting 15 pounds. So if he can run to that level again, he might be able to get second, maybe even win.
And I'm with Come On Girl, because I know the trainer likes to have a runner in this, and I mean, at least she rocks up here in decent form. The question mark is going to be returning to turf. The distance is no problem. I normally like something on the speed. I don't think she's going to be necessarily. But we've seen horses come from off it in the past in this race. Having said that, they're normally a bigger field than this. I thought she's got a profile to go the right way. I know it's not Lingfield, but yeah, I know the trainer tends to find one in this race, and I think won it a few years ago when I was there. I'm going to check that. I'm not going to absolutely commit to that. Yeah, Case Key won it a couple of times. There we go. So yeah, small win on Come On Girl for me, who's been progressive since the blinkers went on. We kick on to the Hungerford Stakes. This is definitely most interesting race of the day. Should have started with this, really, shouldn't we? This is good stuff. I think this is easy enough to take an opinion about. Tiber Flow is 4.3, Pogo is 5.0, Chindit is 5.6, Double or Bubble is 7.8, Happy Romance 9.2, Dubai Poet 14.0, Bigger Price is the final trio. We've got 4 different horses going up. So we've got Dubai Poet, Wings of War, Tiber Flow, Happy Romance. Who has a very strong opinion here? I would say raise your hand, but I can't actually see you currently. Any strong opinions? Good, great. Go on, Steve. You gave a weird sort of shaky hand symbol. So
yeah, sort of. Well, I have got quite a strong opinion, but it's on the favourite Tiber Flow. I just thought this would set up beautiful for Tiber Flow. That they'll go a decent pace. Pogo's front runner, Chindit will be up there, and there's a couple of others that will push the pace as well. And if you go back to the previous winners of this race, last year, William Haggis won it with a 3-year-old who had good form earlier in the season and was coming back off a bit of a break. And that's sort of what Tiber Flow's doing. Won at Newbury earlier in the season in a listed race over 6. But that day did look like it certainly would stay another furlong. And that certainly looked to be the case in the Commonwealth Cup, when I thought he ran a fair bit better than his finishing position. He wasn't ideally drawn. All the action took place on the far side. Perfect Power, who won it, was in stall 1. And Tiber Flow came sort of more down the middle to stand side. And I thought ran really well. And again, looked like 7 furlongs was going to be ideal. And that second to Al Caballo at Newcastle, I think that was on All Weather Champions Day, that's really good form. And I just think that an improving 3-year-old is going to be too good for some horses that have probably found their level.
Can I come back at you, Stephen? Just not because I'm of a very similar opinion to you, and was nearly going to put up Tiber Flow because I couldn't really have Pogo or Chindit, who actually did win a race, or has won a couple of races this year, but wouldn't be for me. I thought Double a Bubble, she's often underestimated, but I don't know, she doesn't win very often. Happy Romance thought once 6 furlongs, and then I got to Dubai Poet, who doesn't have a dissimilar profile to Tiber Flow in the sense that the last start came at the Royal Meeting, and I thought he ran better than the finishing position, given that he had to switch mid-race, which Andrea Razzeni got a ban for. So was he on your radar as well as an improving 3-year-old, particularly at the prices at 14.0 or not?
Yeah, he certainly was. And I don't think that Jersey Stakes form is the worst form in the world. Noble Truth was favourite and won it nicely, but didn't think it was the deepest of races. And I just thought that it was just the fact that William Haggis won it with a similar type last year. I got half a feeling that he's lined this up from some way out, especially on the back of a break. I can see the case at Dubai Poet, but I don't think his form, his profile is anywhere near as strong. And he was tried over 10 furlongs, and I don't know. I just wasn't totally convinced by him.
Yeah,
I wouldn't put you off.
I thought the prices, I'd rather back that horse as one of the improving 3-year-olds. I thought there was too much between him and Tiber Flow for I was interested in Tiber Flow. I've just said that Happy Romance DC wants 6, but you're putting her up. So take it away.
Yeah, I like the last 3 runs she just hasn't really got there at all. I think that maybe they step up. Like this is you said, no, this is wide open. Absolutely wide open. But Happy Romance is very, very good at Newbury. Like some of his best wins that have come in Newbury. This is kind of, I think this is her time of year as well. She won on the 19th of July in 2020, and then the 18th or the 17th of July in 2021. No, I know it's August, but she's only had 3 runs this year. She was out in the desert, as you said. Maybe she left a bit behind over there. Maybe it's taken her a while just to come into fitness. Maybe just to be on top form. And again, she's a nice price. As I said, no, this is completely wide open. I want to take something at a slightly bigger price, kind of in the middle. And I like Happy Romance as a horse. So that was my thing. I think 7 will be fine as well. I think that she should stay.
And Adele.
Yeah, well, this is my turn to go a little bit rogue. I've played it safe with a lot of my bets on Saturday. So Wings of War is a horse who I've always loved. I remember tipping him to win the Mill Reef, was it last year at Newbury? I do think this horse is absolutely crying out for 7 furlongs. And to be honest with you, apart from the Commonwealth Cup, I don't think he's done a whole lot wrong over 6 furlongs, in good company. They've tried numerous headgear on him to try and sharpen him up. And to be honest, I just don't think he's an out-and-out sprinter. In the races he's been running in against, some really speedy horses, he just seems to be failing, the kind of last half a furlong, and he just really stays on at one pace. Although his pedigree is very 5 furlongs, 6 furlongs, I'm hoping just the way he runs, the step up in triple will suit him. So I'm just going to play him really like a very small win place. I'd really love to see this horse get back on track. Like, you would pick him in the paddock all day long. He's a gorgeous looking horse. So I know he's the outsider, but fingers crossed, I'm hoping the extra furlong will help him. And we know he's proven at the track. So hopefully he can get back on track.
I'm just going to confirm the price for you, because it should be 22.0 for Wings of War. So place only, or would you just have a
cheeky one? Yeah, like a cheeky little win bet. Why not? You know, I said I've been very safe with my bets all day on Saturday, so gotta have one rogue bet, haven't you?
All right, I'm going to put win and place for you, just because. Let's be honest. If Wings of War wins, Adele, I'm going to be all over Twitter saying another winner for Adele Mulrennan 22.0. So there you go. Good. Anything else to add on the Hungerford? Right. Any other bets laid? Oh no, first of all, I'm going to stick with what we've written in the running order, because we have one of those, and tell you about the sign-up offer. It's a £30 welcome offer. Money back as a free bet if your first bet loses. We will get to any other bets, best lays, best bets very shortly. This is for new customers only. I'm sure you know that by now. You've got to use the bonus code INSIGHTS30, INSIGHTS30 for it. You place your first bet. If it loses, Matchbook will refund your stake as a free bet up to £30. The full terms and conditions are on the Matchbook website. 18 plus. Be gamble aware. A reminder that across all sports, you're very likely to get better odds with the nature of the Matchbook exchange. It's how it works. And so if you fancy a team or a horse or anything you want to have a bet on, a stake up to £30. If that team, horse, whatever loses, then you'll get your stake back as a free bet up to £30. So well worth having a Matchbook account in order to take advantage of that. Okay. Any other bets? Adele, you've got one for us at Ripon.
Yeah, I've gone for P. Zanello, who was last seen running in the Thirst Hunt Cup, big field. I think the smaller field will certainly help him at Ripon. He handled Beverley really well, which is quite a sharp, undulating track. So I think he'll be fine at Ripon. Not quite sure what price he is, but just an extra little bet for Saturday.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll check that in the 325 at Ripon and just tell you about First Officer, which is my other bet. Now that is running today on Friday at 325 at Nottingham. Round about joint favourite at the moment, I think, with the horse that beat him last time. I'll just confirm the price for you. 4.0 actually, so heads the betting. I'm just encouraged. So this is First Officer. I'll get to I'll get to Ripon in a sec. So First Officer under Ryan Moore for Roger Varian, who won at Salisbury, having been very unlucky at Sandown. I backed the horse at Ascot when he just looked completely outpaced. Last time left him alone because I wasn't really sure about where they were going to go trip-wise. And actually, I'll be honest, he was in my tracker and I missed it. But I watched the race back, and off the same mark, I think he'll reverse the form with Rushford, who's the biggest danger. I'm excited to see the horse over further. I'm just convinced the way this horse ran as a 2-year-old, he wanted a good bit further, and I'm convinced he's going to get better with the further he goes. So I really think he's the most likely winner of that 325 at Nottingham. I think there's a lot of room for manoeuvre off a mark of 80. The horse that you put up at Ripon, I don't know whether we've got a market yet, Adele, for that 325, 7 runners, not quite yet. So we'll perhaps tweet that when that goes up at Pisanello in the 325 at Ripon. Best lays we come to then. DC, straight back at you. You're going to the Curragh.
Yeah. I think Search for Song is probably going to be a lay in the St. Ledger trial. I don't think she will be fully wound up for this. I think she could be a sharp price. Joseph O'Brien has 2 horses in there that could Temple of Artemis is his first run for Joseph. That's probably going to the Melbourne Cup. And Raise You as well has had some good recent form. So I think she could be odds on. I'm not too sure, but I think this if there's a day to lay her, it'll be today or tomorrow. Sorry.
Yeah, well, you could lay it today. Get the bet in early.
Yeah, that's the 440 in the Curragh.
There you go, 440 in the Curragh. Steve, your best lay?
A right old favourite of some people, but not mine. In the 428 at Newmarket, Mums Tipple, who I think has to go down as one of the most frustrating horses in training, and to see her somewhere near favourite. She's only won once since York 3 years ago when she looked a superstar, and she's not a superstar. And they're going in again. If she's anywhere around 2.5, I'll be laying her, even though she ran well at Goodwood last time. Dropping in distance, I don't think is what she wants. And it's only a 5-runner race. And I think she's one to take on.
I think she's a he, Steve.
Yeah, see, I always say it. See, why call a horse mum something? I know it. I know there's so many of these where they say, oh, Audrey's something, and you think, oh, great. And then it's a male horse. It really annoys me because I don't do my research enough.
The one that gets me is the boy horses whose name end in an A. Because that I always think's a girl.
Yeah, it's a tricky argument. Yeah, he. Mum's Tipple, he.
The big giveaway is
very disappointing horse.
That's the big giveaway. Right. Anyway, Mum's Tipple hopefully gets beat for Steve. Adele.
Fran Tank in the 120 at Newbury, and the fact that Steve and Deasy have gone with a General Lee, that kind of seals it for me even more. Just thought it was a tricky race. I ended up with no bet. So quite happily take on the favourite, and hopefully it gets beat with Fran Tank.
Okay, Fran Tank for Adele. I couldn't find a lay on the day, being lazy. We'll come to best bets. I'll kick off with my best bet, which is just another bottle to win the race he won last year, make it 4 consecutive wins over course and distance at Ripon, hopefully up the standside rail. Just another bottle, my best bet, win and place. Adele, straight back at you, your best bet.
I'm going with Gisburn. Hopefully he can get back on track. I know his profile has been very mixed. Just think there's a little bit of depth to his form there. So hopefully, he's my best bet, Gisburn, Newbury, 3 o'clock.
DC, your best bet?
My best bet is Snash in the Great St Wilfrid at Ripon, the 250 Ripon, up the rail.
Up the rail. Jonesy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, mine's up the rail at Ripon in the Great St Wilfrid, as well as just another bottle and slash. It's Emperor Spirit.
Always good when we have 3 horses. They might finish 1, 2, 3, and then we've all copped.
Whoever gets to the rail and gets to the front wins. So it'll be interesting.
Do you know? Imagine if the favourite wins held up far side. Steve just go. Wah!
Yeah, I should be joining the cat out the window.
Good stuff, Steve, Micheál, and Adele. Thank you very much indeed. Don't forget, we've got 2 podcasts for you next week because it's York. So, if I remember off the top of my head correctly, we're going live on Tuesday to preview Wednesday, Thursday. That's going to be around about the middle of the day. Tuesday at midday. Our producer's just so on it. He's brilliant. And then Thursday at 11 a.m. to preview the final 2 days. Daniel Hussey, thank you very much indeed. Thanks to everyone for tuning in at home. We'll see you twice next week. Bye-bye.